Hey, everybody. Hope you're doing amazing. Welcome to our daily market commentary. It is Wednesday, the 10th of April. The daily market commentary is something I like to do each and every day to kind of get ourselves going, get ourselves started, and get ourselves rolling. So, for those of you that are new to the channel, you can do me a favor, click that subscribe button so that you see as things happen and as they come along. So let's go ahead and dive right in. See if we can jump in. So somebody's asking, is this new? Yeah, Gerald, this is something that I'm doing it. I don't normally do the live version, but I thought it'd be good to do the live version. So let me know. Some of you guys are on the chat. Let me know if you can see my screen. My video is not showing up here on my screen, but I want to make sure that you can see it. And there's typically a little bit of a delay, so I want to make sure that you can see my screen. Okay, looks good. All right, so let's go ahead and dive right in. So as I take a look this morning at the S&P, we're up about 5 points today. And just so you guys know, those of you that are new, when I do the daily market commentary, I just want you to realize it's the first thing I do in the morning. Meaning, I don't get up in the morning. People ask me, what's your morning routine? I don't really set up a morning routine. I don't have a morning routine where I get up and I do this, and this, and then record the video. No. Typically, what I do is I turn the record button on, and then I turn on my platform. The first time that when you hear me go through the daily market commentary is the first time I've looked at the markets. Okay, and the reason I do that is because I think it's good for you to see, how do I see it? Okay. How do I see the markets when I set them up in the mornings? And we do this on on Sundays and Thursdays at the Traders Army site. But I wanted to maybe do one today, just kind of out of the blue. I was running a little bit late this morning, and I thought, rather than rendering a video, let's just do one live. So that's the plan. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in. So I start with the ES. Now, I've been talking about the ES slowing momentum here for a couple of days, and these little tweezer tops that we just put in the last few hours tell me that there's some weakness that could be occurring. Okay, so now the weakness that we're seeing in the S&P is really stemmed from the fact that we are at daily supply in the S&P 500. If you think about it, we came to daily supply, right? So this daily supply area was this area here. Now, I don't think that it's very strong daily supply, and I don't anticipate a huge move off of it, okay? But full transparency, full disclosure, I took some spiders put positions as a hedge against some other long trades because of that daily level. But clearly, our big picture is telling us to be a buyer. We are getting a little bit of a momentum shift and a bit of a rollover. So I wouldn't be opposed to somebody trying to go short today. I saw yesterday, we have FOMC today. There's the oil inventory numbers. There's a whole bunch of fun things happening today. And so when you've got all those fun things that are going on, then you've got a couple of different things that you may want to look at, as far as, are we going to take breakouts? Are we going to do announcements? What's the setup, right? What are we looking to do? So when I look at today, I think that, we might have a little bit of a pullback before any FOMC. I think we kind of have an idea of what the FOMC is going to do, so I don't anticipate huge FOMC movements. And this is a really good opportunity for candle-to-candle trading. So let me explain for those of you that are new to the candle-to-candle trading concept. When I'm looking at candle-to-candle style of trading, I'm looking to go short once I get a candle that sets in a new low. Well, technically, this candle here, our midnight to 4 a.m. candle, put in a bit of a new low right here. We have where this candle is about to be printed. So the candle that we have now is about to be printed. I'm okay with a 4-hour candle-to-candle trading style, and which is where I get short when I get below this candle's low, and my stop would be above this candle's high. And then every time we create a new candle, you may take that stop and move it down, right? And so that, I think, is actually a pretty decent setup based on what we have today. Now, looking at the hourly chart, those of you that watch me regularly, I do talk about that tweezer tops, oftentimes these upper wicks that are the same spot, oftentimes will lead to a little bit of a pullback. Those of you that, and I'm not a huge candlestick guy, but oftentimes you'll get those tweezer tops that lead to a bit of a pullback. Not always, right? But that tells me that there's some selling pressure, right? Well, this is a little bit of a rally up in the Globex hours with 2 tweezer tops and a bunch of wicks here in the last 3 hours. So all of those wicks in the last 3 hours tell me that we could have a rollover and a little bit of weakness. Now, that being said, I have a breakout long up here above 2,900. And I'm totally good to get long there above that 2,900 area if it comes to pass. So the thing I'm looking to do is take a short on a candle to candle style, but I don't plan on that short lasting for very long. Matter of fact, we've got a confirmation long down here, 2860 by 2885. I'm a huge believer in confirmation style entries. All right. Confirmation style entries, meaning I let price get halfway in and then I get long as it comes back out of the zone. All right. Next, go to the NQ. So in the NQ, we're putting in a very similar price action here on the daily chart. Now, the NQ does have a little bit of supply up above us, and that supply is back from October. But I think there's plenty of room for it to fall. So I think there's a chance that we'll see a little bit of a pullback today and a little bit of a fall. Now, I don't think that that's necessarily going to be a bad thing. I think that a little bit of a pullback is okay. Matter of fact, in Sunday's live trading room, we pulled up a list of bull area stocks, right? So some bull area stocks, I think, are always going to be, when stocks that have had nice upward moves, right? When a stock that's had a nice upward move then starts to pull back, and I use this, stocks that have had a nice upward move and then pulled back, to me, that pullback area, as long as it comes back to a quality reversal point, becomes a bull area opportunity, right? Those are ultimately what I'm looking for, or when those things set themselves up. And based on what the market's giving us, I think we may have a few of those setups in the equity markets, right? I know a lot of you guys that are watching this are probably mostly futures traders. Well, just, nobody got into this game to be futures traders. I don't care who you are. Nobody got into trading to be a futures trader. Nobody got into trading to be an options trader. Nobody got into trading to be a Forex trader. You got into trading because it could help you live the life you choose to live. You got into trading to help achieve goals, right? Doesn't matter if you trade futures or options or currencies or Forex. No. So don't turn down really good opportunities in other markets because you're so focused on the futures markets. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for, a little bit of a pullback. Now, today I think we can get some short on this Nasdaq, as far in a candle to candle style. So I would look for candle to candle as the best way to go once this candle has been printed, which it'll be printed in 15 minutes. Next, crude oil. So in crude oil, we had a really nice breakout trade. Some of you guys caught our crude oil breakout trade from last week and got a really nice run out of that crude oil breakout. And if you guys got that crude oil breakout trade, good on you. Nice job. And then it rallied up to our 4-hour level. And a couple of you were able to catch the 4-hour short. Now, my fear on this 4-hour short is that it wouldn't last very long. And I didn't feel like it would last very long because even though we had come to the extreme supply, what is more powerful, the trend or the extremes of demand and supply? So think about that for a moment, right? If you ask yourself which one is more powerful, the trend or the extremes of demand and supply on the same time frame, I'll tell you that trend is more powerful. And a lot of people have a hard time with that because they're always looking for these extreme areas of supply and demand and these extreme zones, these extreme far away 20 to 1, 17 to 1, 9 to 1 trades. Well, in reality, I want to pay attention to what's my impulse move and corrective move. And if I look at just what we see in front of us, right? Impulse moves are the predominant trend direction. They're powerful, right? Impulse move, corrective move. Impulse move, corrective move. Impulse, correction, impulse, correction. Okay? And those corrective moves occur at areas of supply or demand. But if you think about it, in this time period, we're using the 4-hour chart. It's going to blow through that 4-hour supply. That's typically what happens. If I want to see where it might reverse and I'm looking at the 4-hour trend, I need to look to see where it might reverse on the daily chart or possibly even the weekly chart, because my extremes don't matter on my current time frame. My extremes have to be found on higher time frames, and a lot of people get confused with that. Because if you just, you keep trying to short against those areas that are the extremes of supply and demand, and you keep getting stopped out. Well, that's why on this one, when we entered the position, I told you guys that entered it, if you do take this trade, be tight with your stops and be willing to get out, because I didn't feel like it was going to come all the way back down to here. If it does, great, no problem. But ideally this level, we've touched it and got a little move out of it. I feel like we've pretty much gotten what we're going to get out of it. And I think that this is going to chop. Now, we do have news announcements coming out on this, so we need to be aware of, inventory numbers and all those fun pieces and what it can cause. So I'm not going to trade breakouts around it. But ultimately, as we've rallied into this area of supply, that sets me up for better demand areas. Okay. Now, when I look at this thing, if I go back to the 4-hour chart, you notice on here that I have levels of supply above current price and levels of demand below current price. And each level has two numbers, right? Because these are reversal trade opportunities. When we create this daily market commentary, we leave the lines on the charts, because essentially what we're creating is essentially a grid, if you will, of high probability reversal point, turning point trades, right? Because you can look all the way to the back to find high probability reversing point turning trades. However, if price continues in here, and let's say that we come into this area now, this is our area of supply where we've been based a little bit before a decent move down. Let's say that price comes up into here and bases a little bit, pulls back once more, bases again. What have we now created for ourselves? So think about that for a moment. If price comes into that level, bases for a little bit, and then continues its move away, what does that wind up setting up? Right? If you think about what that does, what's it doing every time it comes into that level is that it's eating away that order flow, right? And as it eats away that order flow, I want that order flow to be something that I'm going to be able to generate some interest from people in here as I take away that order flow. Well, that creates it could create demand, Ingrid, but I think more than likely what it creates, I think the best thing that it creates is a potential, and you'd see me put a blue line for a breakout. So when you see me put a blue line, although that's purple, it should be blue. When you see me put a blue line on the chart, think of that blue line as a breakout trade, right? Because we're basing before the level, and I have room to roam, because this up here is mostly just noise that I think price, once it breaks above, will be able to make it through to get up here to this region. Okay. And that's ultimately what I'm looking for. I may catch a little reversal on the hourly chart, which is what we caught here. For those of you that caught it, great. But I want to make sure that I've got that basing before the breakout level that price can continue to move. Okay. So now what am I looking for today? Well, I'm going to remove this level because we've already hit it and moved away. And I need to look a bit higher. And as I look a bit higher on the 4-hour, none of these levels are fresh. They're all retests of one another. Matter of fact, it's a lot of chippity chop in there where I think that we could theoretically see price come back up into there. But there's also a chance that price just blows right through. So I want to look for quality areas of demand and good reversal opportunities. And right now, that quality area of demand, the best one is down here. We do have this one right in here, the 63.31 by 63.14, that price could make it down to today as well. So I'm going to put this one on. It's a speed candle, and we tend to see speed candles get retraced. So I'm going to add this one to my list. But I do feel that the one below it is actually a bit better. I feel that the one below it is a bit better than that one. All right, gold. So let's take a look at gold. So in looking at gold, we have a level up above us, which is a wick over wick area found on a smaller time frame. That level, we've come close to it, been unable to pierce it. So that tells me I'm going to change it to a confirmation style entry. Dashed lines are always confirmation style entries. I use confirmation style entries as my dashed line, so that you know, that tells me if I see a dashed line, I know exactly what I'm looking for. I know that I'm looking for a reversal in an area, and that reversal price has to come halfway into the zone before being able to execute that trade. Okay, so knowing, you know, if you watch this daily market commentary, I change some of the things that I do, and you're gonna want to be able to take a look at the different ones that the different line styles that we have. If that's something that you have not looked into before, if you go to the website, I actually have an area under free trading videos. The area under free trading videos that is titled drawing the lines on the chart. So feel free to watch that video. It's about 10 minutes in length, but it's kind of a guide to what we use when drawing those lines on the charts. So just so you have some awareness of where to look if you don't know how to use those. That's what they're there for. All right. So gold, I like the confirmation entry here. There's nothing on the below there that I like insofar as the areas of demand to get long. And so I'm going to hold off on gold. I don't want to force anything. I'm going to hold off on gold, leave my 2 levels in place, and then just walk away. All right, next, let's go into bonds and some of the currency markets. Okay. So in the bonds, so we've got this ZN level. We've got this ZN level that we identified as a potential for a breakout long. However, price came into it, gave us a quick little snap, and then just chopped along without following through on the breakout, right? This is one where we were unable to follow through on the breakout, and it reversed and went back the other way. Now, if you got in on this breakout, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles here. You're technically on the breakout on this one. Your stop should be below here, because your stop should be below the pivot, right? Now, if you didn't get in the first time that it touched the level, you had another opportunity to get in. And that opportunity to get in would have been somewhere up here. Well, if you got in there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 candles later, it still hasn't hit the stop. Remember that the stop goes outside of the prior pivot. So you may have said, well, if I got in here, my stop goes below this pivot, and you just recently would have been stopped out. In reality, we didn't get the 6 candle movement, so it shouldn't have hit your full stop area, is really what I'm looking at here. It hasn't hit the full stop, but I think this is going to be continued sideways price action for a little while longer as we're waiting on the FOMC. But I still think that there's room. You know, my big picture is definitely sideways, and when my big picture is sideways, I tend to break. I tend to wait, right? I tend to wait. All right, Aussie. So in our Aussie trade, so in the Aussie, I want to take a look at this little level here. Did anybody catch this position? Please tell me you caught this position. We had this Aussie trade set up in our live trading room on Sunday night. And on Sunday night, we looked at this level and said, you know, let's leave it in play, because oftentimes old areas of supply will become new areas of demand. And so price came down into this level and gave us a really strong entry in the overnight hours, and we got a really nice move away. Oh, nice, Sean. Glad you got it. So since we got our nice move away, if you did get this one, your opposing fair price value area, your first one is here, your second one is here. You should have hit all of your profit targets. So now I need to take this and convert it to a confirmation style entry. I would remove it except for the fact that we just did what's called a touch and go. Okay, we just did a touch and go on this level, which means there's still some validity to that area. I do think that we may get another bite at this apple up here, which I'd have to see on a 15-minute chart. Okay, So if I go to the never mind. So this is why I go to the 15 minutes sometimes. So I want to go back and show you the hourly for just a second. So when I look at the hourly chart, my eyes are always keenly tuned to these kind of levels, right? Little bit of basing before little bit of basing below a pivot high will oftentimes be a supply. Price comes down, but if I go to the 15-minute, what I'll notice is that on the 15-minute, we based, dropped, but look, we just got our retest. So now price, I think, is going to continue to move down. And I think that there's an opportunity for price to continue to run. So if you're a momentum style trader, you may get a little day trade opportunity in this for now. But I'm going to wait until price gets down to my demand before I would do anything. In the euro, so the euro, we set up a very similar trade off the 15-minute chart that we did in the Aussie, leaving the old supply to become new demand. Hasn't quite gotten there yet. And nothing really to add in the euro. Canadian dollar. Now, this one, unfortunately, price came super close to the level, right? Super duper close to the level. And then we based above the level, and now we've come back deep into that zone. So basing before the level makes it a slightly lower degree of probability. This one looks like it's about to blow right through. Now, when I look at this on the 4-hour, this is an accentuated move of the downward move that we're seeing in crude oil, right? So crude oil is coming down a little bit as well. But crude oil doesn't have the same strength. I know somebody asked me yesterday about what my thoughts are on using crude oil and Canadian dollars as correlations to one another. Well, sometimes those correlations are amazing, and other times they're amplified. And right now, that's kind of what we're seeing in crude, is that this or Canadian dollar is that the supply in crude is amplifying the move down in the Canadian. So your next level of demand, we've got some areas in here, but we've actually got this one highlighted as the next best zone. All right, last ones, and then I'm going to turn this thing off. I don't want to go much longer than I wanted to go much longer than this. The Great British Pound, Japanese Yen. I don't normally go over copper and nat gas in the DMC. We're still in between two levels that I've been looking at for a couple of days, and I'm not going to add anything to this. I'm not going to take anything away. I'm just going to leave it as is. So if you've been watching the DMC every day, then you've seen these levels that we put up. Same thing in the Japanese yen. Now, Japanese yen, we had looked at this area a while back. If we had shorted off of this area, this gap fill area, right? This was a decent little target. We came back up into that region, popped just above it, and then did a whole lot of nothing here for a while. So I'm going to let this one go for now and move to the 4-hour and see that my 4-hour is still telling me, to be a buyer, because I've got higher swing highs, higher swing lows, but it's very weak at the moment. If you're a trend line trader, you can take a look at these trends. We are getting some buying pressure in there, and that's kind of what I was looking at. But for now, I'm going to leave this one alone and not add anything to my trade ideas and lists. So, kind of heading back, looking at the S&P, some of those levels that we have in play are, this area of supply up here, this areas of demand down below. And then we also have a couple of areas here in the Nasdaq. So those are the ones that I'm paying the most attention to for today. Real quick, I am doing a bike ride for MS. I'd love to see. This is my brother-in-law, Cody. He and I are biking together, and we're trying to raise some funds to donate. So if you'd like to donate for our MS ride, I would absolutely appreciate it. I'll put a link in the down here in the comment box. So if you guys wouldn't mind helping out, 100% of it goes to charity. So all that stuff is always greatly appreciated. If you guys can help with that, we would love it. So that's all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed our session. If you have any questions, my email support@tradersarmy.com. Feel free to go to Traders Army and see if it makes sense for you to subscribe. If you know somebody who's looking into trading, I would appreciate the referral. That's how we live. So thank you guys so much, and I will talk to you all soon. Later.